we are starting our first episode with Meenakshi. It's an immense pleasure to have Meenakshi on board with us for the first presentation. So just to give you a brief on Meenakshi Pandey, like we all know Meenakshi, So she has spent her last 2 decades working around Corbett Tiger Reserve. She has been operating an award-winning jungle camp, which is called the Camp Folktail Creek. And she has been doing that for the first 12 years of our 2 decades of Corbett life. And since 2013, she has been associated with Waste Warriors as an initiator and an advisor to the Waste Warriors entire Corbett project, which is a huge, success story of Corbett in itself. So Meenakshi will be discussing on solid waste in detail and why we all need to really bother about solid waste and in this period of time. So the session will start with a presentation which Meenakshi will be giving to all of us, and which will be followed by a question answer round. So I request everyone to, whenever you have a question or any kind of comments that you have, please feel free to write in the chat box. We'll be coming to the question answer session after the presentation is over, and I'll read out all your questions that you have, and Meenakshi will be very happy to answer that, I'm sure. So before we start, just one small thing I like to mention to all of you that we have a Google feedback form. I'll just ping it in the chat box. So I request all of you out there, please provide us with your honest comments at the end of the session. This is our first session and we're trying to do a series of webinar sessions, and we really want your feedback on how to improve the sessions there. So with that note, I'll just hand it over to Meenakshi. The floor is yours, Meenakshi. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction, Zitosha, and thank you to all the participants for taking out time and being here. And thank you to Waste Warriors for organizing these really interesting series of webinars. I'm really proud to be starting this first session, which is on waste, why bother, as you can see on my screen. What is waste? Essentially, it's anything that we think we don't want anymore and we want to discard it, so it's waste. But actually, as I will explain in the following slides, anything that we just discard and don't want anymore is not waste. Waste also means to carelessly or through no purpose use something. So essentially, don't waste your waste, as I will explain in the next slide. A little bit about Waste Warriors. Waste Warriors is a not-for-profit organization and a registered society with a mission to provide sustainable solid waste management solutions. And we do this across 3 projects in Dharamshala, Dehradun, and Corbett. We work with a lot of children. We work with a lot of community members. There's a lot of awareness, a lot of direct action, and a lot of achievements. As you can see in this slide, some of our highlights. We could not fit in everything that we do and everything that we have done over the last many years. We could not fit in everything into this page. So we've just highlighted the major things. There's a 4th thing that we do, apart from the 3 projects. We also provide consultancy in solid waste management. And anybody who wants to know about waste, how to manage waste in their home, in their office, feel free to get in touch with us. So yes, why bother? Why bother about your waste? Because it's slowly killing you. This could be an image of a dump site in your city. It could be an image of a dump site in my city. It's killing you, and it's killing the people on it and everybody else around you. Animals need your attention. They can't even speak. They can't even say anything. They can't even shout out and say, hey, you're killing us. Or we can't even see them dying in the forest with all the plastic that they ingest. We are all dying from plastic ingestion. That image on the right is an image of me around my home where a wild elephant has pooed, and that's me taking off plastic packet from its poo. So it's much closer home. It's not just something that we see on the net or see in the movies. It's definitely affecting us. And these are representations of silent beings being affected by it. This is in Triond in Himachal, where the Waste Warrior Dharamshala team has been working on this site since forever. This is a cleanup that is organized there. Just see, it's a very, very popular trekking route. These pictures are being shown to you also to make you feel a little more conscious. When you travel next, don't contribute to that pile. Think about these pictures. Have them affect you in your mind, and don't do this. Help us make the world a better place. And yeah, these are very common sights that we see. We just, as Indians, we just scrunch up our noses, pick up our skirt around it, but we shouldn't. We must speak up. Whoever's burning waste, talk to them about it. Tell them the ill health of that it's causing you. And I've also deliberately used this peacock's image because it's our national bird. We don't even care. So we must start caring. Like I said earlier, these images have been specially used so that you feel that, and next time you see a pile or you see a child in it or you see an animal in it, do something about it. Don't just walk past it. It is our problem too. So the current journey of waste in India, this is typically what happens. We have one dustbin in our house. We mix all the waste up. We then give the waste in that mixed, contaminated state to the waste collectors. Then it's segregated. So step 3 actually should be step 1, where we should segregate at home first and then give it to people to collect, not segregate at a later stage. So when we do step 1 as step 3, we end up dumping more than 80% of our waste because it's just too contaminated to use anymore. What happens if you don't manage your waste properly? So we all know these things, we know these things, they happen around us as Indians, and if most of us are Indians who are participating in this webinar today. These are very common sights, but I hope after this presentation, after this talk, it affects you and you do something about it. Do something about the litter. Do something about the plastic in the forest, in the water bodies. Animals that are being affected, they can't speak, they can't say anything, but you can. At the growing garbage piles that are all over our cities. Soon, we are going to have a fight for water. We're going to have a water war. Once the corona gets over, then we'll have our next phase will be fighting for water. These are alarming figures, something that you should read. India now generates every day 62 million tons, and we've put them in figures in kg because it needs to, how many zeros there are in there? There are 9 zeros in there. We won't even be able to say it in words. This is only municipal solid waste we're talking of, which is about 30% of the country only. So in this 62 million tons, we're not even addressing the waste that is generated in rural India. So this is the state of rural India. About 68% of India lives in rural India. We don't have a system of waste management. I also live in rural India. We produce about 0.3 to 0.5 kilos of waste per day. And the rate at which we are going to need about 12% of CORBET every year. Then the next forest and the next forest and the next forest. And perhaps in our lifetime, we would have done away with all the forests that we have. So the time to act really is now. This is a very hard-hitting image by Ricky Patel. It was doing the rounds on the internet last year of, this is in central India, very much in India, of a tiger with a Maaza bottle. So obviously the forest department didn't drop it there for feed for the tiger. This is us. This is some tourist who has done this. And this is how we are seeing our wildlife now. So what can you do? These following slides, ladies and gentlemen, are the most important slides. They're about what you can do, how you can change. So the first step, practice what you preach. Segregate your waste, educate yourself first. Figure out how difficult it is. Contact us, get on our website. There's loads of publications on how you can manage your organic waste, your recyclables, non-recyclables. Everything has a solution is what we want to tell you. So start with yourself. Then step 2 is once you have educated yourself, then go 10 meters around you and educate your community. It could be that you take a bus stand that is really, really filthy or dilapidated, and you do up that bus stand with children from your community. It could be a million things. It could be that you take just the street in front of you and you tell all your neighbors, hey, Sunday morning, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, let's clean up our street. It could be anything, but make an effort. Don't ignore your public property. It is also your property. And the third thing, once you've done 1 and 2, once you've educated yourself, once you've educated your people around you, the third thing, spread awareness. Don't keep quiet about it. Don't feel shy that you've done some excellent work. Talk about it. Why talk about it? So that everybody knows how easy it is, and it can be replicated anywhere. So go ahead, talk about what you have done so that you spread the word and the world can really become a cleaner place in time to come. It could just be that you've started a vegetable garden and you've taken care of all your food waste. Talk about it. Make other people do things that you are doing. So to sum up, what can you do? To summarize, 1, start with yourself. 2, clean 10 meters around you. Once you've done 1 and 2, then spread awareness. And watch, guys, if we start, each one of us start doing this, India will be clean in the next 25 years. If each one of us takes this step, we probably won't need waste warriors after 25 years because everybody would be educated by then. So the 6 R's of a conscious consumer, or the 6 R's of managing your waste properly, or the 6 R's of living a low impact life, as you can see, refuse, reduce, reuse, recycle, and rot. And we at Waste Warriors have added a 6th one, which is respect. Respect to waste workers. It is a big, big taboo in our country for people working in the field of waste. So at Waste Warriors, we try and make it as interesting, as respectful as possible, and want that you also do the same thing. So we're just going to go through each of the steps one by one. Refuse what you don't need. Really think about it. Do you need that extra pair of shoes? Do you need that 6th pair of socks? Do you need the 5th cloth shopping bag when you already have 4? So be conscious. Question yourself. Do I really, really need to use this mineral water bottle because I'm out in the sun and I forgot to carry my own bottle? Or can I just go in somewhere and get some filtered water and drink out of a glass? So think, be conscious of what you're doing and refuse. Don't take things for free. You'll take things for free from a hotel, and then you'll end up having these little bottles of little shampoo and moisturizer lying there forever and ever in plastic cases. So be conscious of all the things that you're doing so that you don't add to the waste. Reduce what you don't need. So many examples of reduce are taking a cloth shopping bag, putting it in your bag, so that every time you go shopping, you're not adding to the plastic bags that would come back to your house. Use refillable water bottles so that you don't buy mineral water bottles all the time. Buy rechargeable batteries. As much as possible, use crockery and cutlery, which is rewashable, so that you're not disposing it. If you must, and this does happen with some hotels, or if you have guests at home and they're going away and your dabba will never come back to you, then use disposable crockery or cutlery, which can be properly disposed. So don't use plastic, use something organic. Use something that maybe is a souvenir, a little tiffin box, which is made of metal, where you can have your logo and you can give it away to your guests. So again, these things come out of being conscious and eventually end up with you having a really, really low impact and totally reducing your waste. So at this point, I would like to add that if anybody wants us to share this presentation to read it later on, feel free to put your email IDs in the chat box and we will send you a copy of this presentation. Because I'm not reading everything that's written here, but maybe you want to go through each and every point later on. So we would be happy to share the presentation with you. Reuse what you consume. This goes for clothes. This goes for things that you don't want. Don't put it in the trash. Give it away. Go to the closest library, go to the closest school, and reuse your thing. Nowadays, there's so much DIY, there's so much on Google. Imagine in the earlier days, how did they even share knitting designs with each other? But they made the best sweaters without Google. So if they could do it then, why can't we do it now with all the facilities that we have? So as much as possible, try to reuse. And then when you can't do any of the first 3 steps, is when you will recycle. So recycle essentially means, and long live kabaris, thank God. If India didn't have kabaris, we would probably all be living on landfills. They've been around for more than 50, 60 years. And imagine if they weren't here, then our houses would be on top of landfills. It's because of them that today we live where we live, far away from a landfill. So anything that you can sell to a kabari, and in this list is huge. We will go through this list a little later in a slide later on. Even I didn't know some of these things 7 years ago. They were all news to me. But they are recyclable. A lot of things are recyclable. That's not to say that you should buy a lot and recycle. Remember, this is 4th on the list. Once you've done the first 3 steps and you can't do them anymore, then you recycle. Rot or compost, take all your food waste. This is about 60% of our waste, which is why it's very concerning. The moment you mix it with other waste, it becomes contaminated and cannot be reused. So separate it, make compost. And a lot of people say, oh, but I don't have any plants, I don't have any garden. So be kind to that tree in the park. Just take all your compost and go and put it in this tree. The tree, imagine this tree is going to bless you for the rest of your life. So, or take, you don't want to use complicated things, you're just one person, find a tree, dig a hole, energy pillars. I remember Sanjay teaching us about energy pillars, and dig a hole and just feed it to the tree, but don't mix it in your waste and just throw it away with everything. Take all your horticulture waste, compost your horticulture waste. It's really, really, really easy to do it. And then coming on to the last point, respect, the last of our hours. These are our real heroes, really. We should not be calling them kudawalas. Kudawalas are we, the people who are giving the waste. They should be called safaiwalas. Because if they weren't there, we would be living in Kura. So they are the real heroes. And after this presentation, guys, the next time you meet a waste worker, say thank you to them after you've passed your dustbin to them. It would feel really nice. Imagine the whole lot of you saying thank you every day. That would be a really, really nice thing to do. So coming back to how to segregate your waste. A lot of gyan has been given on, you should segregate your waste, you should refuse, you should reuse. But once you get down to sorting your waste, how should you segregate your waste? So there's 3 dustbins. You should have 3 dustbins. You can also have 8 by creating many more dustbins for your recyclables, but essentially 3 dustbins should do the job. The first, organic food waste, horticulture waste. This is about 60% of our waste. The second, the blue bin, recyclables. This is about 30% of our waste. And the third, non-recyclable. This is about 10% of our waste. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is real waste. The first 2 dustbins, the green bin and the blue bin, they are not waste. They are what we think is waste, but they're totally reusable again. They need not be categorized as waste. This is a very luxurious statement to make that this is waste now. So starting with organic waste, anything that is made by God, as Pawan from our Corbett team says, anything made by God goes into this. So horticulture waste, food waste, bones. There's a lot of people who ask questions that, what do I do with oil? What do I do with masala? What do I do with pickles? We have solutions for everything. So if you need help with composting your food waste, please write to us and we will provide a solution for any situation that you're in. So essentially, any kind of food waste, bones, eggshell, even floor sweeping and hair can go into making compost. Next, we come to the recyclable. So this is an very interesting page, and the reason why I would be happy to share this presentation with all of you. A lot of things here we thought were not recyclable, but they are, like cigarette butt. How many of you knew cigarette butts are recyclable? They are. There are two enterprising young boys in Noida, in Delhi, who are making foam out of it, cleaning it out. And so like this, there is loads and loads of solution. If you store your waste and provide quantity, it can be recycled. The last dustbin is a non-recyclable dustbin. The most important dustbin, the only dustbin which has got waste, and it's only got sanitary waste and medical waste. That's it. Sanitary waste and medical waste, and anything else from the other two dustbins which you have contaminated so badly that you cannot put it in the other two dustbins, so you need to put it in this. So essentially, this is just sanitary waste and medical waste. So what to do with all this waste? Now that you know which category each waste goes into, what do you do with dry waste? So dry waste, again, going back to all the earlier discussions, reuse as much as you can, sell it to a recycler or upcycle within your own house. Non-recyclable waste, send it to a scientific landfill or an approved incineration. Here, I would like to point out to everyone that in India, we don't have too many scientific landfills. We're getting there with organizations like Waste Warriors, with people like you attending presentations of Waste Warriors. There is still hope of getting a scientific landfill. Approved incinerations, there are a lot of biomedical incineration plants where you can identify them and send them to send your sanitary and medical waste to. But India now has centers for e-waste and medical waste, so you can actually go and deliver your waste there. But eventually we'll get here. We even have a home jugaad for scientific landfills. For anyone interested, feel free to get in touch. That's about dry waste. Wet waste, there are many options. Many options. For small houses, you can have a smart bin. For hotels, the top right enclosed compost is really good, or the bottom right drum composting. Somebody with large quantities of waste. So there's a solution for everyone. 5 main components. A lot of people ask these questions. So, okay, if I start bothering about my waste, what is it that I really need to do? One, educate yourself. So start with awareness raising, start with yourself. Then you need to educate the manpower behind it. It could be your domestic help, it could be your office help, it could be your spouse, it could be your partner, it could be a guest visiting you. You don't want to constantly have to take their waste from them. You can just very quickly educate them about the systems that you have in your house. You need equipment, which is essentially the dustbins, but you don't have to buy dustbins, gents and ladies. You can use bags, you can use a dekchi with a lid for your food waste. You don't have to have fancy equipment to do this. It can be as low cost as possible. Then you need transport once you've stored all the waste, and you have to take it from point A to point B to your recycler, to the trenching ground, wherever. These are no more than this. These are the 5 main things that you will have to focus on if you want to look after your waste, if you want to have a low impact lifestyle. And I love this slide. This is a horror slide. How long do things take to decompose? So I'm not sure if all of you, I didn't know a lot of these. I'm going to go one by one. Banana peel, 3 weeks. Apple core, 2 months. That means that it takes 2 months for these things to become mud. So mud from a banana peel or an apple core would be very usable for growing something, but mud from the rest of the things that we're going to mention is not something that you can reuse. It will just decompose and get to a powdery form. Aluminium cans. Depending on the thickness, 800 to 200 years. So none of us are going to see these number of years, but they are. Tetra Pak. Did you know this shocking figure for Tetra Pak? Did you know that every Amul carton of milk or every fruity of juice that you drink will take 500 years to decompose? Glass bottles, over 1,000 years. Which one of us is going to live so long? They are. Newspaper, 1 or 2 months. Cigarette butt, 1 to 5 years, can even go up to 12 years, depending on the thickness of the butt. Plastic bottles, this is a horrifying figure. Plastic bottles, because it's very common for us to buy a bottle, drink, trash it. 450 years. So remember, even if you've put it in the dustbin, it is going to lie there for 450 years, or wherever it's going to be taken from that dustbin for 450 years. So the first thing is refuse. First thing when you see all these products. So also plastic has, we've learned through a lot of researchers, plastic has chemicals, phthalates and BPA, which leachate into into the food that they're holding, and at extreme temperatures, and they go into our body, and they cause all sorts of diseases, cancer, infertility, breathing disorders, all sorts of diseases. So must avoid. Baby diapers or sanitary napkins. This is also shocking figures, because a lot of us go through a lot of these through our lifetime, whether it's baby diapers or sanitary napkins. 500 years. Did you know? 500 years. Thermocol. This one we call, in Corbett, we call this Rakshas, monster, because it never decomposes. You may burn it, but you'll still end up with a little bit which is never going to go anywhere. You're going to go, your children are going to go, your grandchildren are going to go, but this is not going to go anywhere. So again, be very, very, very conscious of what you use, how you use. The time to start is now. We have to forget what we did in the earlier years. We have to separate our waste and start now. So with that, I end my presentation, and I'd be happy to take any questions that anyone may have.
I just want to compliment you, Meenakshi. Excellent presentation.
Thank you, sir.
I just came in to say that because I need to leave. I hope that Waste Warrior has many such presentations and can share their immense experience and knowledge. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
part of that.
Thank you, Sanjay sir. Hi. So we do have some certain questions when the presentation was going on. So there's one question that came up, Priyanka Sharma. There are a lot of brands associated with drinks that are switched from glass to plastic now. So do these people have any alternative after Tetra Paks to make their product accessible to customers in a more environment-friendly way?
Glass or metal would be most environment-friendly.
Yeah.
But you're saying they switched from plastic to, no, from glass to plastic.
Yeah, so from glass to plastic and now plastic to Tetra Pak. They're switching it like that.
Yes,
Initially
yes.
It was from glass, then it became plastic
So,
bottles. And now, yeah.
well, we should, for everyday life, we should totally avoid Tetra Pak or plastic. That's not to say, guys, that we will totally do away with plastic. Suppose there's a war. Army is not going to throw down glass bottles of water. They will still need large decanters, hard plastic, which don't leachate any chemicals, to throw down the water. So this is why plastic was invented. But it wasn't invented for making little poly bags, which is going to float and have microplastics, and we've abused it. Similar to thermocol.
Right.
Thermocol was made for packaging. But we realized, oh my God, we can, make, have so many, multiply them into hundreds and thousands in seconds. And this is so cheap. So came thermocol. But nobody told us that, it leachates chemicals and.
Yeah. So these are like basically Frankensteins of the society. So plastic, thermocol, like they were actually manufactured for a particular utility, and then it became like overproduction done there. So yeah, that's what I call it. It's a Frankenstein. Then we have Karan. He asked the question again, like he asked it initially. So we do decent levels of segregation in our, do decent levels of segregation of tin, plastic, paper, glass, and compost, etc. Issue is the time when we take the solid waste to the nearby town for selling or disposal, they mix it up all. Like I think mix it up all. What is the best solution for the above four solid waste? Paper and glass is manageable, but the issue is aluminum, tin, plastic, of course. help and solutions would be great to work on.
Karan, you should try to upcycle whatever you can within your lodge. So make tables out of mud and glass, grow flowers in cans. You can paint them to make them look really nice. And maybe what you can do is lure a few more hotels around you. So you get the scrap dealer to visit you once in 6 months with his vehicle, and so he then is interested in collecting segregated waste. So try to lure him to come, tell him you'll pay him for transport, or somehow make it profitable for both of you and involve more people. When he gets more waste, he will be more respectful of that waste. In Corbett, I remember we could not sell a lot of things till we started storing them. And when they got to 1,000 kilos or 2,000 kilos, we got buyers from 100 kilometers away who came and bought it from us, like cloth. Old cloth, we never could sell it for years and years.
Yeah, that is true. Like if the people who are actually benefiting out of selling the recyclables, who actually know the value of recyclables, if they come to know that you are actually taking care and selling it to them, why will they not come? It's a very easy solution.
Yeah.
So yeah. So Aparna asks, is there? Thank you so much, Karan, for asking the
Did we
question.
help answer your question, Karan?
Well, yeah, actually we try. I mean, it's a bit obviously, like you said, we constantly keep trying to get the team to understand it. Over the years, we've succeeded to some extent, but I think we have a long way to go. And I personally think there's a lot we can do.
Sure, as a community,
and people are getting more and more receptive about these things. We are in fact using Corona also as a sort of blessing in disguise to say, hygiene is one of the most important things we should look into. People are more accepting now to listen to such things, because till now it was always gyan from the lodgewalas, which hopefully will change slowly. So, but I think what you said, to upscale, that's something we didn't do much. We did it probably very minimal, and that's something we should try. And we being such a small lodge, it might not be so difficult.
You have a beautiful lodge. I'm sure you can do lots of upcycling projects there.
Yeah, and then maybe also to try and, like we have this association of lodges, so we could try, like you said, to get more lodges together, and maybe that works as well. So definitely helps. Because, and thanks to you, when you came, you gave us a lot of solutions already, which we luckily managed to do.
Karan is from Kanha. He has a beautiful lodge, Flame of the Forest, in Kanha, which I visited a few years ago with Waste Warriors. And they actually have a pretty good system, which is why he's attending, because they're doing a good job. But yes, the community needs to get together.
Thank you so much.
Karan. Thanks, Karan. And it's a beautiful name, Flame of the Forest. Yeah. Aparna out here asks that, is there any policy for companies like Amazon, Flipkart, who uses so much of packaging materials for small items, of course, for the safety of the products, but again, it's a lot of packaging that they kind of do. So I feel if anything can be, should be uplifting it, from the customer.
There is, but it's a hoax, I tried it. There is, you can ask for less packaging and so on and so forth. You have to register. In fact, just Google it. Just Google that I want less packaging for Amazon. What do I do?
Yes, absolutely.
And it'll tell you what to do. But it's a hoax, because after that I ordered to check, and nothing.
Yeah.
Some suppliers are conscious themselves and they have really good packaging, but otherwise, guys, we have to make a noise about all these things. And I think our 1.2, which is almost getting to 2 billion, will help, because we can make a very big noise. Right. So yes, it's great that we're talking about it. So then, somebody will actually think of doing something about it.
Yeah. So I'd like to add out here, like my brother works in Amazon sustainability team, and he works on this, reducing the packaging part as much as possible. So I am the person who's constantly, sitting on his head and telling him, like, you have to reduce, Amazon has to reduce the packaging.
Well, you must tell him that they did nothing to mine.
Yeah. Suyansh has an opinion that the indoor model of solid waste management should be promoted everywhere. That's true. That's absolutely true that it should be promoted everywhere because they have done a wonderful job there. Like, yeah, personally, I've not got the opportunity of visiting indoor, but whatever feedback I've got from the team, from my team who has visited there, it has been a wonderful experience. Like, there are so many things to learn from there. Definitely. Yeah. Let me just scroll up a bit for some of the questions that was coming before. So Ankita says, "Hi Meenakshi, great initiative and
Hi.
good to be a part of Waste Warriors. Good to be a part of Waste Warriors again. Got to go another webinar, but good luck to my warriors." Thanks, Ankita, for joining in. Nishant also says, "Love the initiative." Meenakshi, yeah. So Anu Shiv has a point which generally is a very common point in everywhere when we try to do. So even though we segregate and give it, but it's always mixed and dumped when it is like goes to the dump site. So what's the
Yeah,
point?
this is why you shouldn't give your food waste to the Safai wala. You should compost it on your home yourself
Yeah, yeah,
instead of blaming him. So again, guys, okay, not that, but so the Safai Karamchari is an Indian. We didn't get him from Sweden. He has lesser infrastructure than you do. So in other words, we need to help them. Imagine if every one of us took care of our food waste ourselves, that's 60% of the waste. Then the municipal in your area, in my area, nobody, but the municipal would only have 40% to look after. And it's a win-win situation because you get compost out of it, and they don't have to mess their hands. They don't even have an infrastructure to go to a shed and segregate their waste. So think where their background is. They're right here. They're from our country. They're our brothers and sisters. They have as little infrastructure as you can possibly imagine. By reducing the amount of waste that you give them, you'll certainly be helping them. So get a trust bin, get a smart bin, there are so many options. If nothing, just take a flower pot and put all your, put mud layer, put your food waste inside it, put a mud layer on top. Do this with 3-4 flower pots and you're sorted.
right.
It's very
Absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. Well, like convincing people to do composting at home, which is so super simple, is so difficult. So Aman has a question. Tetra Pak eventually is recyclable. I believe the idea should be to manage the waste and help recyclable. Yes, Tetra Pak is recyclable. That is true, Aman. Gear Birding Lodge, Sasan, Gujarat. Wow. Thank you for so much for the lovely presentation. It's a very good thing to know. Jaya has a question. You mentioned something about decomposing sanitary waste at home. Can you please throw some light on that?
Decomposing sanitary waste at home? Okay. Not just sanitary waste, non-recyclable. Okay, so the home jugaad is take an old water tank, which is not leaking, but has a tap. And just this water tank is your scientific landfill. You will need 2 water tanks. When the first one fills up, start using the second one. It doesn't have to be a massive water tank. It can be a small one. This all depends on how large your family is. When the first one is full, start putting it in the second one. And then when the second one is full, go back to the first one because it would have gone down in capacity. It would have decomposed inside. Now, this tap that I mentioned in the water tank, you will have to, after the first 10 days, every week, you'll have to remove the fluid inside, put it on a sheet on top of the tank, and when the liquid dries, put it right back into the tank. That's it. You can do this into so a scientific landfill is an enclosed area, a water tank or a room which doesn't have a window or a hole, and eventually, I think eventually we will have to go one on top of the other. In years to come, instead of spreading linear as we are right now.
Right.
Yeah. I hope that helped.
I hope that helped, Jaya. It helped giving me an insight here.
Yes, it does help. Thank you.
Thanks, Jaya. Okay, we still have 5 minutes left, and we have a lot of questions out here. I'll try to finish it off within the next 5 minutes. So Prashant has a question: do we have plans to take this to the schools? Can we also
already
share?
do.
Yeah,
We already do. We have a lot of information. Please visit our website, www.wastewarriors.org. There's a lot of
Absolutely.
information.
Yes.
I've lost count of how many schools we work in. I think over 500 schools across our 3 projects.
Yeah.
In fact, it's a chalu thing we do, you know. We patao the children first. We do these really fun programs with them. And then through them, we get into the community, and through them, at least this is how we've managed in Corbett. And it's really helped because teachers are talking about it. We're doing these programs in school. The students are talking about it. So yes, we have a lot of resource material in the resource section of our website. Please visit. There are guidelines, there are lesson plans. There's more to come in the following months.
Right. Yeah. So guys, I can see some people, because the time is almost there. I've already shared the link for the feedback. Please, it's very important for us to get your feedback. Please do go and give your feedback. Yes, Suash, if I'm just pronouncing the name right, cornstarch-based polybags should be practiced. Definitely, yes. Yeah, he's asking the question. Should be
Yes,
practiced or not?
but do we really need this? Really? Now we need our cornstarch to make bags? What are we going to eat? Anyway, that's my opinion. My opinion. If you must have a plasticky looking packaging, go ahead, use cornstarch, but it's a luxury.
Yeah, so this is one of my questions as well. Like, you know, any kind of biodegradable or organic products are really expensive. It's not really in the reach of a lot of people in a daily life. So what is the alternative then? Like, not using, because like we mentioned in the slides as well, like thermocol, it's a cheap alternative. But then what to use as a biodegradable, or do you think that biodegradable products should be more available to people? Like, it should be cheaper. Like, right now it's very expensive and not really available.
So, well, to answer your question, be local, do local, buy whatever you can locally, buy seasonal vegetables, buy seasonal fruits. You don't need to buy your mangoes from Amazon right now. I mean,
Yeah.
if you could, if there wasn't a lockdown.
Yeah.
That itself will help reduce your
True.
packaging. You don't need to buy Lay's chips. You can actually carry a snack from home, or you can eat that hot pakora that is being fried right in front of you at a local eatery. So that will also reduce your impact, your use of waste, your use of disposables. And I always have, everyone makes fun of me, but I always have a very small steel glass and a plate in my bag, always, and gloves also, always in my bag. And so I've had people ask me, hey, can I have your glass? Hey, can I have your plate? Because I'm always ready for any situation. There comes my plate and there comes my glass. And
That's so super
so
cool.
these are alternates that you can choose for your life as well.
Yeah, it's okay. Post-COVID, the government should be encouraging production and private sector participation. How is it possible? How possible is it going to be to implement plastic waste management rules 2018? Ramesh Rangaswamy asks this.
As possible it is to implement other things in our country. So very possible, and then maybe not. But yeah, we live in hope. We're waste warriors. If we don't live in hope, we wouldn't have been doing this presentation. We wouldn't exist. So there's total positive hope that there will be changes. In fact, now there's producers are being made responsible for what they produce. They can't make toxic products. It will take time. For example, the solid waste management rules were made in 2000. They were revised in 2016 to include all of India, but it's 2020 and it's still not in effect in all of India. So it will take time, but yeah, totally. I'm going to say that it is going to be possible.
Okay. I think we have to just wrap it up very quick. Aparna says, I'm a regular composter. Thank you so much, Aparna. That's really great. Any rapid composting technique, chemical or something? Suyansh.
Yes,
Any-
NatureWell SW made by Clover Organics. Cow dung
Yeah.
is also a really good composter. But rapid composting for what? Rapid, just dig a hole and just stick it all inside the hole and you cover it with at least 4 inches of mud, and that's rapid as can be.
Yeah. I think like composting anyways, like it's such an easy method to do, and people should be knowing more about smart bin and trust bin. Like it's even in apartments, even in any place inside the home, you can just do it. Like we do it so much. We already have the gold, the gold soil that we call, like, it's already there. So non-recyclable any solution to manage non-recyclable waste?
I've already answered that. You need to find a scientific landfill, or
Yes.
you need to find the closest biomedical incineration plant, or you need to find a cement factory that's close to you. Either of these. For those of you who live in municipal areas, you actually don't have to do anything. You just have to give it to your Safai Karamchari. And he's going to take care of it for you. But these earlier points that I mentioned are for people in wilderness areas, hotels, lodges, homes who produce waste and don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, right. Okay, I think this has been a really, really great session, Meenakshi. It's been, even we got to, like, the people who are continuously working with waste also got to see so much of insights. I really, really thank you for joining with us today, and so explain to us so much in detail. And just waste management is so easy. It's just a habit change that we really need to focus on. So one thing, what we can do, what we'll do right now is, like, we'll share this this particular entire webinar in the YouTube link of Waste Warriors. Please follow us in YouTube channel. And also, for any further details, any kind of activities, anything that you want to know about Waste Warriors, please visit our website, www.wastewarriors.org. And please follow us in Facebook, in Instagram, in Twitter. We are there everywhere. And you'll get all the updates of whatever work we are trying to do. Right now, we are trying to do a lot of virtual work. Please follow us on that. Please support us on that. And also, for all the next webinar sessions that are coming up, Friday, 4 to 5, this time this time of the week, we'll be there talking to you on different aspects of the environmental problems, or anything that we can provide a solution to you. So we really hope you enjoyed this session, and most importantly, learned on managing the waste, in small steps of what Meenakshi explained in the presentation. So see you guys in the next session. Till then, please, all of you, stay safe, stay at home for some time more. I think we'll all fight through it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Meenakshi.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.